Hey, it's Willie Armelini with Flowers and Scents with your floral industry buzz. Today, I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to interview the Milanos. Mike and Bob Mellano are brothers that have a farm out in California. They're wholesalers, they're big growers, they're a big part of the flower business in California. And I was managed to get them to come and talk to me today. So, without further ado, the Milanos. So, Mike Mellano, welcome to Flowers and Scents, and thanks for taking time out of your busy day to come and sit here and chat with me for a minute. So, look, you and I have a little history that I think you guys are third generation floral business. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I hope to think it's positive energy and positive history here.
Well, we'll decide that as we go along here. I hope so as well. See, as growing up as kids, we had this sort of alternative Italian family called the Milanos in California. We didn't really know them, and I guess our parents were friends.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I heard about it all the time. We heard about the Milanos, and it wasn't until later in life that I actually got out to come out and see you guys and meet you guys. But it's always sort of been a little bit of a mystery to me. So Bob and you are brothers, is that right?
Yeah, Bob and I are brothers.
And Michelle is a cousin or sister?
Michelle is my cousin.
Is a cousin. I thought so. Okay. All right. And your grandfather started it?
That's right. Our grandfather started the business in 1925 when he came over from Italy on the proverbial boat that most Italian families came over on.
Yes.
So, he made a choice to come to the United States and ultimately came to California and, got into the flower business and little by little started his own, and we went from there.
Yeah, we sort of have crossed paths, interestingly enough, there too. I grew up in South Jersey with Dutch farmers and Italian farmers, and flower growers in this case, right? My uncles were flower growers, and we had Van Noords and Van Dykes and a lot of Van people.
Sure. Yep.
And we had some Capuzzis and some a bunch of Italians growing
Yep.
flowers. So I didn't have the Japanese contingent where you have Japanese contingents out there.
Well, yes, certainly. There's a diverse group of farmers, and going back generations, you can definitely see the evolution of the business. The flower market in Los Angeles, being what it is got the European side and the Japanese side, and
Yep.
the Italians tended back then to gravitate all together, and the Japanese tended to gravitate together, and
I think it's the nature of the beast. Yeah, I always thought it was interesting that they separated those two. You had the Italian side and the Japanese side. Okay,
okay.
so all right. Well, that's the beauty of these technology things. We get to experience a little bit of technical issues occasionally. But okay, you're back with me, and as I was saying again, I had I had Dutch and Italian growers that I grew up with, and you did the same out there in California, and many of them are still there.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a legacy-rich industry. We do have new people that come into the industry all the time, but there's a lot of longtime players still involved with deep roots into the flower business.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's happening here now, which is maybe you feel the same way. It used to be that we were the young guys in the business, and our parents were sort of the stalwarts and the people that we saw at conventions. And suddenly, I'm finding myself being those people. The no longer the young execs. Now we're the old execs, I guess. I don't know. All right, so Milano's doing lots of things. I was excited to talk to you guys because other than my little history lesson there, you're doing lots of things. You are wholesalers. Well, more importantly, I guess you're growers. You're flower growers in California. You got a big spread. I've seen it. I've seen your automated tractor, which is really cool. It runs around by itself. It's a real fine operation you have out there. Plus, your whole big wholesalers carrying all sorts of product, not California product, or in addition to California product. So that must be a delicate balance with the California grown and all that stuff. So how do you managing that?
Well, really, ultimately, the customer decides. We are large growers. We do and are committed to domestic production and California production. It's where we live, where we reside, where our families are, and it's what made us who we are today. But we are wholesalers. We are bouquet manufacturers and distributors, and ultimately it comes down to the design element of what the consumer wants, what they're looking for, what they think the public is going to resonate with. At the end of the day, the consumer is the one that decides what they want. And honestly, I think the diversity now that's evolved in California, the variety of products that the growers have gone into produce, synergizes very well with a lot of the product around the world. Certainly, we'd like to see stronger demand for domestic products as domestic players. We need a certain economy of scale, in order to be able to achieve objectives and to be able to provide products efficiently and effectively for the customers. And our Melinis know that just as well as anybody, with the amount of volume of trucks on the road and the need to fill capacity so that your transportation costs are lower. We're in the same boat. We need to sell product. We need to sell domestic product to partner with the offshore product. And at the end of the day, it generally marries very well.
Hey, you have more than one wholesale house?
We have 4 wholesale houses.
You do? I didn't know that. Where are they?
Well, Los Angeles is the original and
in the market, yeah.
In the market. That's where my grandfather started out. We have wholesale locations also in Carlsbad, near the flower fields down there. There's a small conglomeration of wholesalers that are in that a little marketplace there.
Right.
We have a location in Orange County, in that region between LA and Carlsbad. And then we also have the location out in Las Vegas. So we have those 4 locations.
Okay. All right. Well, we have something in common. We both live in Orange County.
Yep.
My case, California, and that's Florida in this case. And you're also doing something with Helix, which I really like the concept. You're growing a variety of wax flower, a branded variety of wax flower, Australian variety, which I find totally fascinating that that you've taken on the crop, producing it here or there in that case. How's that working out?
Well, it's pretty good. It's like anybody I think that's going to be in this business, you have to evolve, you have to change, you have to stay on top of the new things to go along with your older things. And the opportunity came along with Helix to partner and try and bring their new varieties to the marketplace. We all know that Southern California has been a very strong production base for Australian natives and wax flowers and such. And so it just worked out very well for us to bring on the Helix varieties, have that exclusive agreement with Adrian and the group, and bring it to market.
And you also are doing something with Bloom Check. I noticed, I was looking on your website here and noticed about Bloom Check. Tell me a little bit about that. That's a certification, yeah?
Yeah, Bloom Check is a sustainability certification. I think it's something that we, as a California industry, developed years ago through the California Cut Flower Commission. It became increasingly clear that sustainability and the sustainability messaging was critically important. And I think there's a lot of details around that. I don't think most people really understand or recognize that that farming by nature evolves in a sustainable fashion. Okay, it's always about doing more production with less inputs, doing it more efficiently and more effectively. We in California are subject to a lot of well-intended regulations, more so than just about anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And those regulations, coupled with the evolving spirit of the farmer, didn't allow us to get really the credit that we thought we should be getting for the sustainable nature of our industry. And so as a result, we explored a lot of the different labeling and brandings that were out there. Most of them were not really focused on what domestic producers were having to do. So the items that we had to do, like 100% pesticide use reporting, or zero runoff off of our properties, or uh, monitoring the various nitrate components that we have to monitor. We we weren't able to get credit for those really good things we were doing
Hmm.
under the international sustainability certifications that were out there. And so we felt it was important that we develop one that was domestically focused, that allowed our farmers to be recognized for the really good things that they were already doing and we're going to be continuing to do. And so that's where Boom Check came from.
Okay.
There's, I think, about 6 or 8 different farms in California right now,
Or
or
is it certified? Yeah.
that are certified. I think we have 1 or 2 in Florida now that are certified as
Hmm.
Boom Check certified farms. And so it's a really good program. It in some ways, in many ways, it's in its infancy. Um, it's not really well known, well recognized, and we need to do a better job messaging and promoting it.
I think all of those certifications have that same sort of dilemma. Everybody's sort of trying to get theirs to be the one that's globally accepted and everything else. And there's a whole bunch of them out there. I've researched that quite a bit. There's a lot of different certifications, and the Europeans are bigger on, very big on it. The South Americans, with Fleur Verde and stuff, they're very big on it. So actually, I'm happy to hear that because you're right. A lot of things that you're doing, you're not getting credit for. And yeah, California must be very difficult to grow flowers or grow anything out in California.
Well, we're fortunate. We have a climate that is wonderful and perfect for doing what we do. Um, we also have proximity to market conditions. There's a lot of customers, a lot of people in California on the West Coast that really appreciate and want the flowers and the products that we provide. And so those are some of the advantages that we have, and what allows us to continue to do what we do.
Okay, so you're growing a whole bunch of different stuff. Just give me a quick litany of stuff. You're growing, what are you growing out there?
Well, I think we have probably about 30 to 35 different crops that we're growing here, of various size and scopes, anywhere from the smallest crops are probably half an acre, and oftentimes those are experimental, all the way up to our major crops like the ranunculus and the myrtle that are in the 50, 60 acre
Mm.
range. All told, we're probably around 400 acres, plus or minus, when you accumulate all the different products that
And a
we
lot of
put out.
that's outdoor, is that correct?
Just about everything is
Okay.
outdoors. We have probably about 60 acres under rudimentary plastic, little high tunnels we call them, or hoop
Right.
houses, that give us a little bit of an advantage in the winter, and actually increase the quality of the finished product quite a bit. So we have about 60 acres that's under plastic. We have probably another 20 acre that's under shade. A lot of the foliages that we grow, several of the foliages that we grow, are under shade, to help improve them and increase their yields. But by and large, we're known as outdoor growers, field growers, and we have a variety of crops that are grown under that fashion.
Wow. Hey, Mike, you want to talk about floorboard at all, or is that not good at timing? I know that there's a floorboard that's resurrected or still going. I'm not quite sure where it's at, and I'm hearing more about it, and it's sort of interesting to me because I've been through a lot of initiatives here over the many years.
Well, yeah, there certainly is, a new initiative out there trying to put together a marketing order for the floral industries. It's called Floral Board. There's a variety of industry leaders that are involved in that discussion and that debate. Certainly there's a lot of different perspectives and interests. I think everybody agrees that promoting flowers would be a good thing. The question is, how do you equitably and effectively generate the revenue that it's going to take in order to accomplish the goal? I know that the people that have been involved in developing the concept have worked very, very hard and diligently to put together the pieces, at least the preliminary pieces for discussion and consideration. I think it's got a ways to go. You got to get a meeting of the minds of the individuals that are actually going to be contributing the money and giving the money into the entity in order to make it succeed.
Right, and
But
yeah, and at the same time, you got Cal Flowers is trying to do something that is similar, I think. I'm told it's not similar, but for me, whether it's legislatively or not, you're going to be competing for funds, I think.
well, yeah, I mean that's you Willie, you started off this interview or this discussion with me that you and I are no longer the young guys in the crowd, and
Yeah.
like, although I still think and feel like I'm a young guy,
Well, we do, yes, of course.
you know, but we've been around this industry for quite a while, and we've seen lots of things come and go, and opinions and ideas and thoughts are always good. Whether it's floorboard and a marketing order for promoting flowers, or box sizes. I mean, how many times have we had the discussion about
Oh boy.
uniform box sizes, right?
Yeah, Dad's rolling over in his grave for sure.
Yeah, these ideas and concepts that are actually really good ideas and concepts, um, they ebb and flow, right? And ultimately, hopefully, we can find a way to make things happen positively for the industry as a whole. Uh, Floorboard is just been rolled out. I think people are just starting to understand some of the negotiable or discussable points in floorboard, and starting to think about how and where the refinements might need in order for it to muster enough energy to pass a vote amongst the, really what it amounts to is the domestic
Industry.
growers and the importers uh, that would ultimately have to be the contributors into the fund.
Well, I certainly wish y'all good luck with that, and I do plan to cover it as much as I can because I sort of, well, for one thing, it's news. It's interesting news, and we've tried this a number of times, and yes, it's a great idea that more flowers for more people and get promotion out there. Uh, I've always the simple solution is right now is to sponsor Jay Swanky because he's I think he's doing great stuff with his his PBS program. I think is stirring up a lot of great interest. So that's one method. But anyway, and one other question. All right, so I know through my children because both of my daughters live out in your county there, and I ask them about the fires all the time. So fires apparently not a problem for you. The California that's further north.
Well, the current fires are well north. They're up in the northern part of the state. We have had a few small ones show up down here in the southern part, but it is a little bit disconcerting. We're not really into what we consider the heart of the fire season. That's coming up,
Yeah.
later this month in October and into November. So when you're seeing fires to the magnitude that we're currently seeing, it is and has been a concern. Where our farm is located, we feel is quite a ways away from any really fire prone.
You're out on the coast, right?
Yeah, we're out on the coast. We're 8 miles off the coast. We are bordering up on Camp Pendleton, which has a lot of chaparral and native vegetation, and so that's always a little bit of a concern.
Yeah.
But the majority of our crops are irrigated crops. They're very lush. They're very green.
They don't want to burn.
So yeah, so they're really, in my opinion, in our opinion, I think more of a fire break than they are a fire
Hazard. Huh.
hazard, right? And so
Interesting.
we've seen several instances in the county when fires have broken out in the past that agriculture actually has helped stop the fires, right? That
Grow more flowers. That's the answer.
Yeah. So whether it's avocados or oranges or nursery crops,
Makes sense.
the fires tend not to burn. They may burn a little bit, but not.
Yeah, it's not ready fuel.
It's not ready fuel. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like a forest, not like the hillside. So it is always a concern, though. It's very disruptive. We did have fires here several years ago that forced evacuations and such. But at the end of the day, we're farmers. You roll with it.
You got to go.
Figure out the new option, and
Yeah.
and you go.
Get your fingers dirty. Hey, Mike, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for your time. I will edit this all up and make it pretty, and give you a copy of it, and send it out to my 22,000 readers I have that will read this thing somewhere. It's
Well,
pretty amazing.
I appreciate it. It's I think it's just the tip of the iceberg of the discussion, and you have a lot of work ahead of you if you're going to make me look pretty. I tell you what.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Bob shows up. Hang on a minute. Just as we're saying goodbye, Bob shows up. Where is he? Can you
Hey,
hear me?
Willie.
Hey,
Yeah.
Larry. How
How
are
are
you,
you?
man?
Well, I'm all right. Thanks. Yourself?
I'm very good. Well, we've had a lovely discussion here, and I got my little history lesson about who the Milanos are. And as I told Mike, we always had this alternative family called the Milanos out in California. We just didn't know them very well.
The last of the few Italians still in it, right?
Well, yeah, there's a few of us still around. So, okay, one question that I didn't ask Mike. So, mom and dad were both Italian?
Yes. Yes. My mom and dad grew up together because our grandparents were business partners.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. So as the history goes, my grandfather's first partner was an Italian gentleman called Johnny Colombo.
Johnny
And
Colombo. I love
Yep,
it.
and Johnny decided that he wanted to leave wholesaling, and he moved up to Acton, which is about an hour and a half above LA, to grow lilac. So the nicest lilac that was for the longest time was lilac that Johnny used to grow, and he hybridized and played around with. So at which point my grandfather then took a different partner on, which was actually a German gentleman. His name was Hankemeyer, and he was an American German. So he ran the admin part of the business. My grandfather ran the business, and then later, my mother's father, who my grandparents were friends, and my mom and dad grew up together. He joined the business because he had developed. He was actually a cook on the cross country trains that would go from Chicago and LA back and forth. His claim to fame was serving food to Al Capone on his way to Sing Sing. So he developed allergic reaction to fish. So he had to get out of the business. At which
Oh,
point my other grandfather offered him a partnership into the business. So ironically, almost 100 years later, our phone bill still comes from the phone company. Says Mellano, Hankemeyer, Courgette, and it still comes that way from there, even though both the Courgettes and the Hankemeyers were bought out by my dad in the 60s.
yeah.
So
Well, you can't get things to change. Get those.
no,
Edit that thing. No.
no, exactly.
Yeah, I had a problem because after my father passed, everything was in his name. I had to call up
Yeah,
the phone company. Well, what's your social security number? I said, you won't
yeah,
recognize it. How
yeah,
old are
yeah,
you? I'm 112.
yeah, yeah.
So, hey, anyway, we had a nice discussion. We learned a lot about Milano and what you're doing out there, and I thank you for you giving me this little bit of time. And I'll wrap it up into something nice and send it out. We have a lot of people watching this, so I appreciate your time and good luck.
I really appreciate it, Willie. Sorry I was late. Just
It's
this
okay. You showed up at the right time there, Bob.
yeah,
So good luck to all you what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
yeah. The next show, we'll see you.
All right. See you now.
Thanks, Willie. All right, take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thanks.